Greetings. I hope you're well. It's September 16th, Saturday morning, and I'm back to do another video with a new record. I don't talk a lot about new stuff, although that's primarily what I listen to. My videos are usually born around old stuff because that's what people tend to watch, and I want to give people what they want to watch. But today I'm going to talk about a record I've been listening to more or less nonstop for the past couple of weeks. This is a really, really cool album by a band that I have loved for a long time. And I've seen a couple extremely lazy reviews on YouTube. And I was going to do the review anyway. And then I was searching around this morning for some other videos and reviews of this album that I just thought were painfully bad, very abbreviated by people who don't know the band or don't really understand the music they're even talking about. And I'm not going to name any names, but there's a reviewer on YouTube. The dude's got like over 2 million subscribers. It's fucking insane. He's got a huge subscribership. And his videos are shit. They're terrible. His videos are horrible. I haven't watched any of his videos for years. I've seen a few. He's been on YouTube for a long time. I think by virtue of the length of time he's been on YouTube, he's been able to garner this huge following, but he's just irresponsible. His reviews are horrible, and he reviewed the Slowdive album I'm going to talk about, and it was just like a 3 minute dismissal of the band and their career. He didn't even, again, he doesn't even understand the music or the bands he talks about most of the time. He just throws out some genre terms, does some quick edits, and then he's off to the next one. Very irresponsible reviewer, and he's got over 2 million subscribers. So this is what YouTube people want to watch. Kind of depressing. That's why I'll never have that many subscribers, because I choose to try to dig a little deeper into these albums and come up with at least one or two reference points and talk about the band from a slightly different point of view. I encourage you to support video makers that do this. I guess if you're into quick edits and you want a 3 minute garbage review of an album you love, I guess, okay, that's what you're really looking for. There's plenty of that on YouTube. I would certainly hope that people would not be looking for that. They'd be looking for something a little more. But anyway, fuck that guy. His reviews are shit. And I don't bemoan anyone. I'm sure he's making a nice living on YouTube, and good for him. I don't bemoan anyone for making a nice living on YouTube. I'm sure he is, with over 2 million subscribers. But it's a shame that we celebrate mediocrity like this. This guy's channel and his videos are mediocre at best. But that's what we celebrate, right? Turn on your TV if you need any more proof of this. Turn on most podcasts. Turn on the vast majority of any YouTube channel. Mediocrity at its lowest. That's what people want. But thank Christ for you guys, because you are here because you demand something more. And hopefully I will deliver it today with this. Slowdive. That's right. We love this band. Let me take it out of its sleeve. You know what I'm saying? So there's no glare. You can see this thing. Everything is alive. There's the track listing. This is a great record. I love it. I thought their last album was phenomenal. It was a huge, triumphant return and comeback. The self-titled Slowdive album. This is their fifth album. Kind of hard to believe. They've been around since the early 90s. But as we Slowdive fans know, they went away for a while. And now they're back, and they are crushing it, man. They took 6 years to do this. And man, I don't know if they were spending that entire 6 year period working on this album, whether it took 6 years or 6 months. It doesn't matter. This is a great album. Love this album. There's not a bad moment on here. If you ask me, in my humble opinion, this is just another fantastic album to add to the Slowdive catalog. There are moments in the last few weeks where I thought maybe this could be their best album. But it's hard to judge that because they've been around for so many years. They put out those three albums in the 90s, and these two in the last 6 years. So they're slightly different, I guess, but not really. This album I'm really enjoying because it's, to my ears, it's a little bit more electronic than what they've done in the past. They've always had open minds when it comes to electronic stuff. Those of you who have their In Mind single from the mid 90s know this, with those awesome Bandaloo and Mark Pritchard Reload Global Communication remixes. Phenomenal stuff. So they've always had their mind in that arena. This band is about moods. I mean, they create these textures and these obviously these wall of sound type guitar moments, but to me it's all about mood. Their melodies are always kind of simple and bubbling under the surface. There's not a strong emphasis on melody, and I think that's why other silly reviewers on YouTube who don't understand that will give these types of records mediocre reviews, because these bands and this type of music goes over the head of your standard reviewer and listener. You have to be more patient. You have to be a little more sophisticated to understand this music. It is what it is. This is complicated, intelligent music for complicated, intelligent individuals. And Everything is Alive is absolutely that. Love this record. I would love to have a conversation with someone who thinks this is a mediocre album. It's not. This is top shelf shit. And I would argue that it's one of the best albums of the year so far. Amazing stuff. I mean, it picks up really beautifully from the last album. A great extension to that. I would argue that this one's a little better. Now, I don't want to compare them. I love them both. I love all Slowdive albums, every damn one. Pygmalion was always my favorite. Probably still is. Maybe it's just, I'm very, I have a lot of memories from that time. I'm very sentimental about the 90s. I mean, that's when I grew up and bought a lot of records. Pygmalion came out in 95. That was their last album they did before the long hiatus. What was that? 22 years? 95 to 2017? 22 years? A long time. They did a lot of stuff between those years. Check check out what they did too. If you're not familiar with what Slowdive did when they weren't Slowdive, they did plenty of other stuff that was brilliant. Absolutely. I mean, you should definitely check it out if you're not aware of what these guys were up to, other than Slowdive. I mean, yeah, I don't know if I even want to get into all that. I mean, Neil Halstead's solo albums, Mojave 3. I mean, yeah, there's plenty of other. Slowdive was very busy not being Slowdive, putting out other brilliant music. So look into it if you haven't done that. The members of this band have not just been sitting around with their thumbs in their asses between times of Slowdive albums. They have been out there crushing it with other music and other bands and other ideas and projects. But Everything is Alive is really fantastic stuff. Let me just show you the press here. Again, here's the back. I'm going to pull up, I wanted to do this. There's a bunch of different colored versions of this record, and I wanted to make a brief comment on how I feel about all of these different colors that come out these days. Here's the nice gatefold sleeve. Here you go. Get some credits. Nice. Would have been nice to get, I don't know, a printed inner sleeve or something more interesting than what you get. But it is a polylined sleeve, so at least there's that. I bought my copy of this from Turntable Lab. It's on green wax here. I think the official term was mint green. Pretty green. There you go for all you colored wax fans. And it sounds pretty good. I I always harp on Apple Music. I have Apple Music, and they're starting to put out these high res quality albums on Apple Music and Dolby Atmos sound. It's pretty killer. It's a sick sound, and I don't regret buying a record of this, but it sounds pretty phenomenal on Apple Music. I'm going to go through all the different colors. I bought this from Turntable Lab because I like supporting Turntable Lab. I've had good luck with them. I buy lots of stuff from them. I've bought head cartridges, and I bought my VPI cleaner behind me from Turntable Lab. And yeah, I buy Turntable Lab stuff. I like them, and this was their exclusive. And there are many other exclusives, which I'll get to now. Or I don't know if some of these are exclusive. I don't know. I'll look these up. Here's one on clear vinyl. Is this one? Okay, that one's not exclusive. Then there's one on black. I assume that one's not exclusive either. Here's the green one. Yeah. Looks like some of these had a turntable slip mat with them. Mine did not have that. I'm all right without a slip mat. I got enough of those. Here's one on gold opaque. Was this one? Okay, it doesn't say that one was exclusive to any one retailer. Here's one on blue, sea blue. Spotify fans first. This leads me to my comment. This bugs me. This makes me not want to collect records when this kind of shit happens. Just give us all the colors and let us make a choice. It's annoying. I have to be on Spotify if I want blue wax. I mean, who cares really, as long as you have the music, right? But here's one on pink. Here's one on red, apple red. What's this? Limited to 500. Available only at Concerto Plato and one other shop in Belgium. So you got to go to fucking Belgium to get one if you want one on red. And of course, yeah, they're all selling for like 40, $50 here. Um, Here's one on Orange Crush. Stupid. September 2023, Secretly Society release. An Orange Crush vinyl. Secretly Society release? This is what I'm talking about. It's like you got to be in a secret club to buy records now. It's such a bougie, fucking dumb culture, vinyl culture. It just annoys me. Sometimes I'm embarrassed that I like records. It's moments like this where I just want to sell everything. Get rid of it. Here's another a gold one with limited edition artwork consisting of a postcard signed by all band members. Okay. This is annoying to me. How about you just have a website or a Bandcamp and you put all the colors out there and let people make a choice? I think just making these, you have to be in secret societies for Christ's sakes to buy certain records. It's just stupid. You know, people who like buying records wonder why other people hate vinyl culture. I definitely have moments of self-hatred when it comes to stuff like this. I just want to buy the color I want. If there's a gold and red and purple and plaid and whatever the hell else, I want to make a choice and buy what I want. And I feed into that. I'm guilty of that. I bought this from Turntable Lab. I don't know. It was the first one I saw for sale. So let me defend myself in that way. They sent me an email about it. It was there and I bought it, you know. I really, really don't care what colors records are on. Usually, as I've mentioned before, I try to always get black or clear, but that's what I saw green first and that's what I got. But it would have been nice to have choices. I bought the green one and I saw all these other colors. And it was like, oh, all right. Don't make me work to be a record collector. Life is busy and hectic enough. I don't want to feel like it's a job scouring the internet looking for certain colors of plastic. All right, I'm going to shut up about that now. To the record, love the music on this. And like I mentioned before, sorry, let me take that sleeve off. As I mentioned before, this sounds a little more electronic to me, and I love that. It kind of reminds me, you Slowdive fans will know this. There was a compilation that came out in the early 2000s on More Music. It was called Blue Skied and Clear. And it was basically a bunch of electronic bands did little homages to Slowdive. Ulrich Schnauz was on there, for example. Ulrich Schnauz is like a a certified Slowdive freak. In fact, I always thought it would be cool if he produced a record of theirs, or at least did a remix, you know. But yeah, More Music put out this little compilation. I think it was More Music. You know what? I'm going to look this up. I do have Discogs pulled up, and I'm going to look it up right now. Blue Sky and Clear is the name of a Slowdive track. And they put out this compilation in homage to Slowdive. Yes, here it is. More Music, 2002. I thought it came out in 2001. I was close. 2002. And yeah, Future 3, Ison, Lollipuna. God, Lollipuna. Do you guys remember Lollipuna? Oh my God, I love Lollipuna. Ulrich Schnauz, Limp, Solvent. Yeah, it's a double album of Slowdive covers made by electronic artists. When I was listening to this, it made me think of Blue Sky and Clear. It's their most electronic album. And that's nothing but a great thing. They're evolving their sound, man. They're not evolving it to the point where they're turning into a different band. It sounds like Slowdive. If you put this on, there's no band that sounds like this. But there are more electronic touches here. No question about it. Opening track, Shanty, fantastic. Prayer Remembered. There's some instrumental songs on here too. And there's like a track or two that has very minimal vocals. That's probably turning off a lot of certain reviewers' reviews on YouTube. You can definitely tell. It's funny. Back me up on this if you disagree with this. But in my life, it's interesting. I feel like people who like rock music or more rock-based music, or even traditional hip hop or whatever, they diss any music that doesn't have vocals. Like I don't know that they even see that they're doing it. But electronic fans who love electronic music, we're fine with vocals. We'll listen to music with vocals, but people who are into only vocals are very snobbish about music without vocals. This is just something I've noticed. I guess the point I'm making is the punk crowd and the rock crowd are a lot more snobbish and elitist than electronic crowds or crowds who are just into all kinds of different music, who have open ears and open minds when it comes to approaches to music. That's just something I've observed. Maybe I'm completely out of bounds saying that, but that's what I've observed. Rock fans are just like, if it doesn't have guitars or vocals, get the fuck out of here, man. Well, there's plenty of no guitars and no vocals on this. An album that's definitely steeped in electronics, and I like it. I like it. A Life. Andalusia Plays. That's a great song. My favorite song on here is probably Chained to a Cloud. A nice, long, slightly extended, more electronic jam. Very, very sparing vocals. It's all about mood. It's all about swirling atmospheres. It's not about your expectations, you know? That's what Slowdive's good at. That's why they're Slowdive. I mean, who sounds like these guys? Nobody. You achieve that kind of status by stretching expectations. Don't give people what they want. Give people what they don't know they want. That's what you do. If you just keep pumping out the same album year after year, okay, you can attract certain fan bases that way, or you can be a true artist and challenge yourself and challenge your audience. Now, obviously, you're going to have a lot of lukewarm, negative reviews when you do that. But those of us who know better celebrate this kind of music. This is a great album. I wouldn't listen to any review that just dismissively gives this a mediocre review. They're not listening closely enough. Albums like this, you can't get a good grasp on anyway if you just listen to it once. You got to let it kind of wash over you. I've listened to this album probably 15 times in the last few weeks, and God, it just keeps getting better to my ears, man. I've heard a lot of music in my life too, and this is getting better. Love Slowdive. God, these guys are good. I saw Slowdive. Check this out. Blow your minds a little bit. saw Slowdive back in 1992 live with Ride. Imagine this as a double bill. Slowdive opened for Ride. And you know what? There were like 40 people there. I mean, nobody was there. It's almost yeah, it's almost too crazy to even contemplate now. But yeah, that double bill happened back in 1992, and it was a great show, man. My heart warms when I think of all the best shows I ever saw. I tend to always go back to that time because I grew up in Portland, and back then Portland was just a small town, and not all bands came here. It was kind of rare when an indie band or even a popular band would come here. Everyone comes here now, but back then it just didn't happen. But every once in a while, bands like this would come to Portland, and there'd be 40 people in the audience. I saw Radiohead here in Portland, and there were 40 people in the audience on the Pablo Honey tour. Plenty of shows I could talk about like that where just nobody showed up. This was one of those instances. It's fun to think about. There's a very personal experience to see Ride and Slowdive, bands like this that mean so much to me now. To think back at what a small, quaint setting that was. So that influences the way I hear this stuff now too. I have a personal connection to Slowdive, and that probably means that I have biased opinions on this stuff. So take that for what it's worth. But I think this is a great album. When I've reviewed music my entire adult life, and one of the jobs of being a music critic, and this is something that a lot of YouTube reviewers do not understand, is you review music from, you know, a very objective eye. At least you try to put your fandom on the shelf and try to hear it for what it is, not for what you expect. Don't go into any listening experience with any expectation ever. Same with movies, same with books. I don't ever, I try to never read or watch a review of any album before I hear it. I do that after, so I can agree or disagree with them. And in my experience, it always ends up being a very good thing. I don't give a shit what other people think before I hear something. I don't want someone to already put my mind in a certain place before I experience an album. That's their experience. I'd rather experience it for myself. And Slowdive is just very warm human music. And if you have personal connections to them over the years, this is going to sound even better. That's what I'm trying to say. My very verbose way of putting it. I have a lot of connections to this band, seen them live, been a huge supporter of what they do. And this is a fantastic piece of work, and I recommend it to anybody. You can call it shoegaze or, whatever. You can be lazy if you want to name it certain things, but I recommend you just put the damn record on your turntable and listen to it and let it transport you to whatever place it will transport you to. Phenomenal record, man. I've listened to it 15 times, and I'll probably listen to it another 115 times by the end of the year. Not a bad moment on this record. Do not listen to any naysayers if you haven't heard this. If you've heard it and it's not your thing, okay, fair enough. But I highly recommend this. If you're stumbling upon this video and you haven't heard this record, you are in for a treat, my friends. Slowdive. Everything is alive. And the title's cool too, man. In an age where, in my opinion, everything is feeling more dead, everyone and everything, a title like that is very inspiring to me. It put me in the right headspace. And the music is life affirming, absolutely. This is very positive music. It's very melancholy, but that can be a positive thing. It doesn't have to be a sad thing. It's just you can make a choice as to whether you want to feel positively or negatively about it. I feel very positive. And I feel positive you will love this record. Check it out. Slowdive, everything is alive. Until next time, bye.